For centuries, humans believed our solar system had 8 planets. The year is 1928. A young man stands on a farm in Kansas, staring up at the night sky through a telescope he built himself, using parts from a broken tractor and the crankshaft from his father's 1910 Buick. He has no college degree, no formal training in astronomy, but an obsession with the stars and a dream that seems impossible for someone in his position. Within 2 years, that young man, Clyde Tombaugh, would make one of the most significant astronomical discoveries of the 20th century. He would find a world that had been hiding in the darkness for 4.6 billion years, a world we would call Pluto. This is the story of how Pluto was discovered and why, after 76 years as the 9th planet, it became the focus of one of the most passionate scientific controversies of our time. Before we dive into Pluto's discovery, let's understand how planets are found in the first place. For centuries, humans knew only 6 planets: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and the distant Uranus, all of them visible to the naked eye, wandering against the backdrop of fixed stars. The word planet itself comes from the Greek word for wanderer. In the 1840s, astronomers noticed something strange about the orbit of Uranus. It wasn't moving exactly as predicted. Something was pulling on it gravitationally, something unseen, something beyond. 2 astronomers, Urbain Le Verrier in France and John Couch Adams in England, independently calculated the location of this mysterious planet. In 1846, astronomers pointed their telescopes at the predicted location, and there it was, Neptune, the 8th planet. But Neptune's discovery created a new mystery. Even after factoring in Neptune's gravitational pull, the orbit of Uranus still didn't align perfectly. There was still an unseen force at play, something beyond Neptune. Astronomers started referring to this mysterious presence as Planet X. Enter Percival Lowell, a wealthy businessman from Massachusetts with a deep fascination for the planet Mars. Lowell believed he could see long, straight canals on its surface. Evidence, he thought, of an advanced Martian civilization. History would later prove him wrong about the canals. But his passion for discovering new worlds was genuine. In 1905, Lowell became obsessed with finding Planet X. Using calculations performed by his student mathematician, Elizabeth Williams, and astronomer William Pickering, Lowell predicted where this mysterious 9th planet should be located beyond Neptune's orbit. For more than a decade, he searched, photograph after photograph, comparison after comparison. But Planet X remained elusive. In 1916, Percival Lowell died, never knowing how close he had come. The search went dormant. The observatory he had founded in Flagstaff, Arizona, fell into financial difficulty. But his dream didn't die with him. In 1927, Lowell's younger brother, Abbott Lawrence Lowell, donated $10,000 to build a new telescope specifically for the Planet X search. A 13-inch astrograph, perfect for photographing wide sections of sky. Clyde Tombaugh was born in 1906 on a farm in Illinois. His family moved to Kansas when he was young. He dreamed of becoming an astronomer, but a devastating hailstorm destroyed his family's crops, making college financially impossible. So Tombaugh taught himself. He studied geometry and trigonometry from books. He learned optics and telescope making through correspondence with other amateur astronomers. In 1928, he built a 9-inch Newtonian reflector telescope using scrap metal, discarded tractor parts, and that famous Buick crankshaft. With it, he made detailed drawings of Mars and Jupiter. He sent these drawings to the Lowell Observatory, hoping for feedback on his technique. What he got instead changed his life. Observatory director Vesto Slipher was so impressed that he offered Tombaugh a job. Not as an astronomer, Tombaugh had no formal credentials, but as an assistant and groundskeeper. He would shovel snow off telescope domes, stoke coal fires to keep the instruments warm, and, when time allowed, search for Planet X. Tombaugh arrived in Flagstaff in January 1929. He was 22 years old. By April, the search had begun. Tombaugh's method was simple, but incredibly tedious. Using a 13-inch astrograph, he photographed the same section of sky on different nights. Each image contained hundreds of thousands of stars. He then placed 2 photographs into a device called a blink comparator. The machine rapidly switched between the 2 images. Distant stars stayed perfectly still, but anything closer, an asteroid, comet, or planet, would appear to jump slightly between frames. So Tombaugh stared through the eyepiece for hours, watching for a tiny moving dot among hundreds of thousands of stars. For 10 months, he found nothing, just asteroids, distant galaxies, variable stars, but no Planet X. On February 18, 1930, while examining photographic plates of the Gemini star field, Tombaugh noticed something unusual. A tiny point of light had shifted position between 2 images taken 6 days apart. It wasn't an asteroid, those move much faster, and it wasn't a background star. Those don't move at all. This object was drifting slowly at the far edge of the solar system, exactly where Percival Lowell had predicted the mysterious Planet X might be. Tombaugh immediately showed the plates to observatory director Vesto Slipher and astronomer Carl Lamplund. But they were cautious. The observatory had been embarrassed before by Lowell's claims about Martian canals, so they needed absolute proof. Over the next several weeks, they took new photographs and searched older ones for confirmation. The object was real. It was moving, and it was far beyond Neptune. They had finally found Planet X. On March 13, 1930, Lowell Observatory announced the discovery of a new world beyond Neptune. The news spread quickly. The next day, the New York Times proclaimed, "9th planet discovered on edge of solar system, first found in 84 years." Thousands of letters poured in suggesting names. 3 classical mythological names topped the list: Minerva, Cronus, and Pluto. Minerva was eliminated. It was already an asteroid's name. Cronus was rejected because the astronomer who suggested it was widely disliked, and they feared he'd claim credit for the discovery. The winning name came from an 11-year-old English girl, Venetia Burney. She suggested Pluto, the Roman god of the underworld, fitting for the dark, distant planet at the edge of the solar system. The name had another elegant touch. Its first 2 letters, P and L, were Percival Lowell's initials. On May 1st, 1930, the name was officially adopted. Clyde Tombaugh, the self-taught farm boy from Kansas, had discovered the 9th planet. For 76 years, Pluto enjoyed its status as the solar system's 9th planet. But even from the beginning, some astronomers questioned it. Pluto was strange from the very beginning. It was smaller than Earth's moon, and its orbit was far more tilted and stretched than any other planet. It didn't resemble the massive gas giants like Jupiter or Saturn, and it didn't look like the rocky inner worlds either. Pluto seemed to be something completely different. So what exactly makes something a planet? The International Astronomical Union struggled with this question for decades. In the early 1990s, the discovery of the Kuiper Belt changed everything. Astronomers found thousands of icy bodies orbiting beyond Neptune in the same region as Pluto. Pluto wasn't alone. It was part of a population. Then in 2005, astronomers discovered Eris, a Kuiper Belt object slightly larger than Pluto. If Pluto was a planet, shouldn't Eris be one too? What about the dozens of other large Kuiper Belt objects being discovered? Would we soon have 50 planets? 100? The IAU convened in 2006 to settle the question once and for all. On August 24, 2006, the IAU voted on a formal definition of planet. According to this new definition, a planet must satisfy 3 criteria. First, it must orbit the sun. Second, it must be massive enough that its own gravity pulls it into a nearly spherical shape. Third, it must have cleared the neighborhood around its orbit. This means the object has become gravitationally dominant in its orbital zone, having swept up or ejected other objects of comparable size. Pluto meets the first 2 criteria. It orbits the sun, it's round. But it fails the third test. Pluto shares its orbital region with thousands of other Kuiper Belt objects. It hasn't cleared its neighborhood. By this definition, Pluto is not a planet. Instead, Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet, a new category for objects that are round and orbit the sun, but haven't cleared their orbital zones. Pluto became the prototype for a subcategory called Plutoids, dwarf planets beyond Neptune's orbit. The decision was controversial. Many astronomers argued against the reclassification. Planetary scientist Alan Stern pointed out that by this definition, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, and Neptune wouldn't be planets either. They all have asteroids and other objects in their orbital paths. The debate continues to this day. Some scientists propose new definitions based on size or geophysical properties rather than orbital dynamics. Others accept the IAU's decision as the most practical solution. In 2006, NASA launched the New Horizons spacecraft on a journey to Pluto. It carried a small amount of Clyde Tombaugh's ashes. He had died in 1997 at age 90, never knowing his discovery would be demoted. On July 14, 2015, New Horizons made its historic flyby of Pluto, revealing a world far more complex and beautiful than anyone imagined. A heart-shaped nitrogen ice plain, mountains of frozen water ice as tall as the Rockies, a hazy blue atmosphere, 5 moons, active geology. Pluto was dynamic, diverse, and fascinating. The heart-shaped region was officially named Tombaugh Regio, in honor of the man who found this distant world 85 years earlier. Whether Pluto is officially a planet or a dwarf planet, its discovery remains one of the great triumphs of human curiosity and determination. A self-taught astronomer, with no formal training, using a not-so-sophisticated telescope, searching through millions of stars for 10 months, found a world 5.9 billion kilometers from Earth. Pluto's story tells us that science is not static. Definitions change as our understanding deepens. Categories shift as new discoveries force us to reconsider old assumptions. But the wonder, the sheer thrill of discovering new worlds, remains constant. And there are more worlds out there waiting to be found perhaps by someone just like Clyde Tombaugh, someone with passion, patience, and the courage to look where others haven't. If you're interested in what might exist beyond our solar system, be sure to check out our next video on habitable exomoons. Thanks for watching this video. Until next time, keep looking up and stay curious.